Selamat Welcome. I'm back again. After disappearing for like almost a week, I had a huge pet expo event that I had to attend because I am fostering a bunch of cats in my own home that I give up for adoption for free to people who want to care for and give a good home for these cats, since I'm the co founder of Creo Cats with my wife. So after that event, I'm completely knocked out, no energy whatsoever. Took me like 2 days to recover. Did very little work in the past days, but now we're back. I have the energy again to do my real 9 to 5 job and do more flesh and blood content. Without further ado, let's jump into my early Aurora deck tech. So, the time of recording, this is on Wednesday, and next Friday is supposed to be the pre release date. So, we don't have access to the paper cards yet, but I've been testing with Aurora since day minus 48 of the release with paper proxies, testing online, and very recently after Tampa Bay, and all the lit card has been spoiled. Now we have the legendaries and the M's. I've been testing it on Tabletop Simulator with a bunch of friends and a bunch of strangers as well. And I feel like the list is pretty solid as of right now when we have no clue what the meta will look like. So expect the deck to change quite a bit to adapt to what decks are on top and what type of threats that do they bring and what we need to do in those matchups. For example, if we need to block more or if we need to race more, and what type of disruption that other decks are bringing into us that we need to anticipate. But I feel like this is a very good list that can just start off your Aurora journey and do that pew pew slash slash pew. Okay, so I'm gonna do the deck. Instead of going through all the colors, I'm gonna section off the cards into a couple of groups. The first section is what I call reason to run Aurora. So basically, we're an aggro deck, and there needs to be a good reason or a bunch of cards that only Aurora can run or Aurora exploits really well that makes her really good. That is not available to or can't be exploited as well by other aggro decks. So the reason to run Aurora, first off, is Burn Up Shock. This is one of the earliest cards spoiled. We saw this at Pro Tour Amsterdam when they revealed the new type of card, which is Meld. Burn Up Shock is a 1 card 5. It's 1 arcane damage from the shock side and 4 arcane damage when an attack you control hits from the burn up side. It has a 3 block, it has the lightning tag, it has go again. So basically, it does everything that we want and more. And we always melt this card when we're using it on our turn because it has a 0 cost. So there's no reason to just play burn up without the shock. But again, it has the flexibility of just playing the shock side when your opponent is on very, very low life totals. I've gotten a couple of kills this way by playing 1 or 2 shocks when they're at very low life total, like 1 or 2 life points left and no resource left floating. So that's a cheeky way that you can achieve lethal on your opponent's turn as a Runeblade. And since this card is Lightning and Runeblade, Aurora is the only hero that can use this card. So yeah, being a 1 card 5 value 3 block that checks the box of the hero wanting to play a lightning card and enabling your attacks to have an on hit, which is very threatening, is very, very powerful. Okay, maybe let's circle back a bit to the hero. Maybe for those of you who are not aware about what Aurora does, is she's an elemental Runeblade hero with Essence of Lightning, which means she can run lightning cards. And her ability is very simple. It's once per turn instant, so you can do it on your opponent's turn. Is for 2 resources. You can create an embodiment of lightning, which is similar to Quicken but doesn't activate on weapon swings, only on attack action cards. But you can only activate this ability if you've played a lightning card. That's why the deck is built to really be lean heavily on the lightning cards. And the weapon does this as well. It's a 1 resource, 1 power weapon, but it gets +1 and go again if you've played a lightning card. So you can see the theme that Aurora's deviating quite a lot from their usual Runeblade non-attack action, attack action payoff. She's leaning very heavily on her lightning element, since both the hero and the weapon really wants you to be playing lightning cards. That's why, again, Burn Up Shock is really great, because when you meld it, it has the properties of both, so it counts as you playing a lightning card for the turn. Next up, a reason to run Aurora is her specialization. This was only revealed at Tampa Bay, so we didn't have this in our very, very early build, D-48 build, but now we have this. We can see that it's an amazing card. Again, it has the lightning tag, so it fulfills playing a lightning card. And it gives go again to our next thing, which really helps extend your turn when you don't have an embodiment at the start, or you can, even with an embodiment at start, you can attack and then play this, and then the next thing gets go again. And lastly, everything that has go again will deal 1 arcane damage, so it's very good at mixing up your damage sources, because previously we were like 99% physical with very, very minor arcane chips here and there, but arc lightnings enable us to be very, very annoying with those 1-point arcane pings. And whenever you go again this turn is not limited to action cards or cards that you have to play, but can also be from your equipment, such as Grasp of the Arknight, and your instants when they have the ability from your Lightning Greave boots. So overall, this card just does everything, and it pitches for yellow. So in case you don't need to play this, for example, you already have a bunch of Gogan, you just need the pitch, you don't have a blue, this is a yellow, so you can still create an embodiment for your next turn, which is great. And next up is Channel Lightning Valley, another one of the earlier cards spoiled, which made me really, really interested to play Aurora, because it makes everything you have an on-hit, and the opponent has to respect it, because the first time you play it, sure, it's only a cantrip, you're replacing this for another card, but after you keep it around for another cycle, you're going up 1 card, and if you're able to keep it for 2 turns, then you're going up 2 cards, which is amazing value. And it's an instant, a lightning instant, so it checks the lightning box, you want to play lightning cards, and it's an instant, so you can play your attack first, see whether they block or not. If they keep blocking out, you don't have to play your Channel Lightning Valley, you can arsenal it instead and save it for next turn when you will have the value. But if they declare no blocks and your opponent doesn't run a lot of D-reacts, you can Channel Lightning Valley during the reaction step, and you get to draw a card immediately, which is very, very great for aggro matchups, because aggro mirrors, they usually don't bring defense reactions. So yeah, this is the great reason to run Aurora. And one of the final cards that is spoiled, that is really, really great for playing Aurora, is Gone in a Flash, or Giaf. And this card is a lightning card. Again, you want a lot of lightning cards in your deck, and it blocks 3, because most other lightning cards that we run, most elemental cards like lightning cards, earth cards, ice cards, have crappy block values. They block for 2, so any card that blocks for 3 is already better in my book. So this is a Wounding Blow, 0 cost, 4 power, 3 block with the lightning tag. That's already really great, but this card is even more amazing, because When this attacks, the next time you play an instant this chain link, you can return this card to its owner's hand, so you can get it back. So the very, very simple line with a 2-card hand and an embodiment is Gone in a Flash with Electrostatic Discharge, which is a lightning instant. So we play Gone in Flash, it has Go Again from the embodiment. They block or not, whatever, after damage has passed during the resolution step, we play our Electrostatic Discharge and our Gone in Flash goes back to hand. Now we can play the same Gone in a Flash, now it gets buffed by the Electrostatic Discharge coming in for 7. So it's a 2-card 11. Damn, swing big, eat your heart out. We have a very, very good value card, but Gone in a Flash, to extract maximum value out of this card, you need to be running instants, which means you're going to be having a bunch of non-blocks in your deck. But there are builds that can just skip and only run the very, very good lightning instants and don't really care about bouncing it to hand consistently. But there is a massive combo that you can do with a single Gone in a Flash and a bunch of instants using your boots. So you can just keep replaying the same Gone in a Flash again and again and again, which is really great, and it's only available in Aurora and Acelia. So these are the cards that I feel like really pull me towards Aurora, and I feel like most builds should have them. Even for Gone in Flash, which seems like a build round, even if your deck doesn't revolve around instants, you play a bunch of non-attack actions, having a lightning tag 4 power 3 block 0 cost card is usually just good enough that maybe you just trigger it occasionally and it's great, and if you don't extract maximum value, it's also fine. It's a 3 block lightning tag. But my build decides to go all in on the instant theme, like many other deck builders, so because we want to abuse the Gone in Flash combo shenanigans. So those are the must runs. Next up, I'm gonna go over the category of your 4 power attacks. There are a bunch of 4 power attacks that you get to choose from generic, elemental rune blade, elemental, just rune blade, and lightning. So there's a bunch for you to choose from. And many of them have like different benefits. For example, Snatch is one of the most obvious choices, because for a hero that can generate easy Go Again, having a 4 power on hit draw card with Go Again is insane value. So I'm gonna see most lists are gonna be on Snatch, but there's another generic that you might consider, which is Coax a Commotion. It's similar to Snatch, but it's both player draws a card, or both player creates a quicken or gain 1 life. The gain 1 life is the rarest mode that you're going to use, especially since you're an aggro deck. You care about racing your opponent's life total down to 0 as fast as possible. But this works really well with a lightning instant that we have. And some builds run this because, again, it's 0 cost, 4 power, and you get to either extend your turn by drawing a card or creating a quicken token, so you have to go again for your next thing as well. Next up that you might consider is Arcanic Shockwave. It's an elemental rune blade action, which is not a lightning card, but it has the lightning fuse. So if you reveal a lightning card from your hand, it deals 1 arcane damage, which is really great for triggering your Channel Lightning Valley, because Channel Lightning Valley doesn't care about hits, it cares about dealing damage to your opponent. So in any way, shape, or form, by rune chants or by pings from Arcanic Shockwave, it makes it easier for you to trigger your own CLV. So those are the type of things that you can run, but I've been leaning personally a lot heavier on the go again fours. So 4 of the 4s that I run have go again. It's flittering charge because I'm heavy on the instant package. So my flittering charge will easily have go again, and it has lightning tag, which is great. Next up is entwine lightning, since most of our deck, like 42, I believe, is lightning. It's very, very easy for you to do the lightning fusion. So this has go again basically like 90% of the time. And next is second strike. It's a 0 for 3, but if you've dealt damage, which is really easy for the deck to do because it's all breakpoints and arcane pings, this card gets +1 and go again. So it's a 4 power go again lightning card. And the last attack, which is not a 4, is Photon Rush. It's not lightning, it's Elemental Runeblade. This comes from the first strike deck, but it has a very, very easy go again, because if you've played a lightning card, this gets go again. And with 45 of our cards being lightning, you're almost guaranteed to see at least one during your turn. So this has almost always go again, extending your turn easily, even though it's not 4 power. It has the upside of having 3 block, because having a lot of instant, we want to have some cards that block well. And the last attack is another one from the first strike deck, is another Elemental Runeblade with Lightning Flow. This one is a 0 for 4, which is great. And with Lightning Flow, when this hits, if you've played a lightning card, deal 1 arcane damage. So this is a 0 for 5, really, really great value, and it's a threatening on hit that your opponent might want to try to block out. And again, it has the 3 block value that we care about, because we want some of our cards to block decently well, especially if we're being threatened by like CNC or Weakest Link. We want to be able to block that out with 2 cards. So that's it for the attacks. Now let's move on. Oh, and Enlightened Strike, of course. Enlightened Strike, again, like Snatch, with easy go again, you can easily draw a card. So basically offsetting the cost of bottoming a card, making it a 0 for 5. Or if you don't wish to cantrip and you just need to push damage this turn, you can choose the +2 mode for a 0 for 7 with go again. And lastly, when you don't have the embodiment to pair up with this, this can do go again on its own, which again, I feel like is very, very important for you to be able to utilize your whole hand. You don't want to be like stuck with 1 or 2 cards when you have a 4 or 5 card hand, just because you don't have go again. For example, you didn't get the chance to create an embodiment last turn, and your whole hand doesn't have go again, which means you can only like play 1 card and create an embodiment, leaving you IP'd severely. So having a bunch of cards with go again is where I'm at. So a lot of people might like doubt my card choices, why it's very, very weird, because a lot of people are trying to go for the cooler synergies like Blast to Oblivion, which can reset your CLV, has the lightning tag. And aside from resetting your own CLV, it's great with the instant speed shenanigans, and with one of our blues being the Sigil of Lightning, it can help create an embodiment of lightning token during the same turn that you play it, while keeping the Sigil of Lightning back in hand, either as a blue, or you can play it again for another embodiment of lightning for the next turn. But I don't run these cards anymore, Arcanic, Blast to Oblivion, Coax, because they don't have natural go again. And especially for Coax and Arcanic, not having the lightning tag is another knock on it as well. But I've seen lists that have done well with these cards, so feel free to consider them as well. Another card that I don't run is Fry, because it is a lightning with natural go again attack, but it has a 0 block. It's so much worse than a head jab That's why I'm instead on Sizzle, which is basically like Fry, but you need an extra card, for example, a blue to run with it. You go Sizzle and then pitch the blue to weapon, swing for 5, and then create an embodiment. You can't just play Sizzle and get the 3 value, but I feel like the 2 block is worth a bit more than being slightly more resilient to warmongers. Yeah, running Sizzle has the risk of you running headfirst into warmongers because you can't play it during that turn if you chose war. But the 2 block value is enough upside, at least for now. When the meta changes and maybe a lot more people are on warmongers, you want to be off this card. For instance, I'm running Electromagnetic Somersault, which is a fake instant because it can actually block. You can block with 2 of your attack cards, and then, for example, blocking for 4, 5, or 6, and then use this and then return both those attacks to hand. So this is one of the best instants in the deck because it's good on defense as an instant, which is weird, and it's very good on offense because it can return your best attack. For example, a very simple 2-card hand is Flittering Charge. You play Flittering without Go Again, and then you Electromagnetic Somersault it. After it hits, after the Chain Link resolves, it goes back to hand. And Flittering Charge saw that you play an instant, so it had Go Again before you return to hand, so you get the action point back, and you have Flittering Charge back in hand, so you can play it again. It's a very simple 2-card 8. And this card can block as well. Another one is Electrostatic Discharge. I gave the example of it being really good with Gone in a Flash, but another good thing about this card is it's a lightning starter because it's an instant, it doesn't take up your action point, and it buffs your generic cards. So if you play like Sizzle or Weave Lightning, those are non-attack actions, so they don't work with your instant speed shenanigans. This does. And secondly, it works with your E-Strike and Snatch. If you Electrostatic into Snatch with Go Again, 7 Go Again hit draw is a pretty nasty stuff to deal with. And lastly, for the red instance, I'm running Lightning Press, because who doesn't love a good attack reaction? That's also an instant, so it enables our instant speed shenanigans with Flittering Charge and the others. It's not as good with Gone in a Flash because you have to play it after damage to return Gone in a Flash back, or you have to play it before damage and not return Gone in a Flash to push that 3 damage right then and there. But that's why I'm also running the blue, because you don't really mind if you lose out on 1 value, but it also helps you push through the on hits of Snatch and Static Shock, and any other card if you have like Burn Up or CLV on the board. Lastly, we're going to cover the blues. I'm currently on 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 12 plus 4 is I'm on 16 blues. And the blues, the must runs, in my opinion, are lightning cards. You want at least like 3/4 to like 80% of your blues to be lightning, because for Channel Lightning Valley, you have to pay the channel cost of putting a lightning card from your pitch zone to the bottom to make it stick around. For me, to make it simple, I've run only lightning blues, but some might consider running other blues that have better block value, because lightning blues can't block for shit. Arcanic Shockwave is a good one because it's 3 value when you play it. It's 2 on attack, 1 ping for a 0 cost, which is pretty good value. And it's also a 3 on block. Another one that a lot of people are considering is Hit the High Notes, which is a good 2-card play with Grasp of the Arknight. You play Grasp, you pitch for Grasp using another blue, and then you play Hit the High Notes, dealing 1 Arcane from the Rune Chant and 4 from Hit the High Notes, since it saw you already created the Rune Chant that turn. So the must-run blues are Current Funnel, because it's not only a 3 block, it's also a very good turn extender because it can give itself and the next thing go again, which is really neat when you have like a bunch of no go again cards in your hand, for example, snatches. And next up is Heaven's Claw, which is a vanilla card, but it blocks 3, so it's very, very important because not a lot of cards in our deck block well or even block at all. So next up is Electrify. I'm still testing this card, but a lot of people swear it's the truth. Um, if it's the only blue in your hand, you use it to pitch. If you have this and another blue, use the other blue to pitch, and then you arsenal the Electrify, and then either with a Tunic or using up your Sword Sing for the next turn, you get to cantrip. You get to replace this for another card, which is good value and an extra 1 damage when an attack hits. And another important thing about the card is it's a lightning card with go again. So if you have no lightning starters in hand except for this, you can play this pitching whatever, and it satisfies the condition of you playing a lightning card without wasting your action point. Because for example, if the only lightning card you have is Gone in Flash and you don't have an embodiment or a way to give it go again, playing just that, it really sucks because you can't extract value from going longer in the chain link by you swinging weapon and doing other stuff. Next up for the blues is Blink. Since we're quite heavy on the instant theme, this one is all the way back from Aria. It's very simple, it's 0 cost, you gain an action point. To note that you can only gain action point on your own turn, you can't play this on your opponent's turn to like play an action on their turn. That doesn't work. But Blink works really well with Gone in Flash. You play Gone in Flash, whether it had go again or not is not very important, because when you play Blink as your instant after damage, the Gone in Flash returns back to hand, and you have 1 action point guaranteed to replay said Gone in Flash. So having blues that are good to play, aside from pitching, because there's always good for pitching, is very important. And the other 2 blues that I'm still testing right now, I'm not sure what the split should be. Most likely it's going to be 3 of one and 1 of the other, because you want to be running more of the better cards. A lot of people are leaning heavier towards Lightning Press, because again, it can help you push through the on hits or force them to pull out a defense reaction on an attack that's only 1 over their blocks. And you don't mind losing the +1 value when you try to pair it up with Gone in Flash. The second one is Sigil of Lightning, which is, in my opinion, better when a lot of the opponents are on weakest link. You can like play this without like losing too much value. You still get something out of it. And secondly, if it's your only blue in hand, when you play this to like go with your Gone in Flash combo, you still get to create an embodiment of lightning for your next turn, which you might be skipping if you decide to play this instead of swinging weapon and creating an embodiment with Aurora to extract value from your Gone in Flash. So yeah, there's a ton of like trade-off, but we want a bunch of our blues to be good to play, and in my build, it's very, very instant heavy. I think I've covered basically everything in the main deck. It's very go again heavy. I'm leaning very heavily towards the instant shenanigans, and I'm prioritizing consistency by running a lot of Go Again and Lightning cards. So I'm gonna post the deck list down below. Feel free to try it for yourself and tell me how you feel about it. Oh yeah, I should go over the equipment. Um, so Starfall's our only weapon, and it's the best weapon that we can run because having weapon with Go Again is a blessing because we have a bunch of chain enders already. The headpiece, we don't have many great options for this slot, and being an aggro deck, when you're facing against a Command and Conquer or other Arsenal disruption pieces, Crown of Providence just gives you that really nice tuck of the arsenal. Swap it for another card, and you can take the 4 damage without needing to worry about blocking it. Or it can also like fix your hand when the hand is kind of iffy. Body piece, I'm running Fiendals. This is because I don't want my hand to be pitching for my leg piece. And the leg piece is Lightning Reefs, the new Lightning Legendary from Rosetta. It's instant, you pay 1, you destroy this, and instant cards you play this turn gets Go Again. So this is the combo that I was talking about, where you have Guardian Flash and like 3 or 4 instants. You use your Tunic resource to pay this so you can keep all of it, and then you just play Gone, and then you play Instant. The Instant gives you the action point to replay the next Gone in Flash, and then you play the next Instant, and then return Gone, and you get the action point back to play Gone in Flash again, and do that a bunch of times. And this card is awesome because it does the combo, which is great by itself, and it also has AB1 and Battle Worn, so it does basically everything. But for lists that are running not so heavy on the instant package and are running more no Go Again 4s, Snapdragon Scalers is also a very, very solid, viable option that you can run. Another body piece that that's in my inventory is Dyadic. It's got AB2 and a total block value of 3, so it goes in against the wizard matchup and against the disruptive decks where you need more blocks on your equipments. So this is always in. Another body piece that I'm currently trying out but not yet sold on is Aether Ironweave. Abby from the Aurora Discord channel is really heavy on the Aether Ironweave. They swear it's the truth because it pairs really well during your Arc Lightning turn, because to destroy this and activate it, you need to play a non-attack action and an attack action, even though they don't run many non-attack actions in the deck. They only ever use it during the Arc Lightning turn because the Arc Lightning cares about Go Again from any source, and this gives you resources and Go Again. It pairs up really, really nicely. So you go Arc Lightning and then an attack, and then you can pop Aether Ironweave. It gives you 2 resources and it pings 1 from the Arc Lightning. You can use the 2 resource to play your Grasp of the Arcanite to create a rune chant, and then because it has Go Again, you get to ping another time, which just extends your turn massively, and just a lot more pings and arcane than the opponent can handle, which is very interesting. But for me, I'm really, really heavy on the Gun and Flash combo. I want to be able to have it on demand, and even on turns that I don't have non-attack actions like Burn Up, Sizzle, or Arc Lightning in hand. So I want to be able to have that resource just ready whenever. But Aether Ironweave is also a very interesting choice. And it also has block 1 Battle Worn, so you can block with it early, unlike Tunic, where if you block with Tunic, you can no longer extract value from it. And for the sideboard is not yet complete. Another sideboard equipment is Shock Charmers, is basically no text on the upper portion because dealing attack action card dealing extra damage doesn't really matter because a lot of the does things when dealing damage is back in Aria and we're not running those. This is mainly run for Spell Void 2 and it's beautiful, beautiful art from Iswardi Therianto or Ijur. That's a local Indonesian artist, so you should definitely check him out. I'm definitely gonna get my Shock Charmers signed by him as soon as I get the chance. So yeah, just upgrading from Spell Void 1 to Spell Void 2 is gonna cost you a pretty penny, but at least it's really great to look at. And the other sideboard piece that I'm certain like a lot of Aurora decks will be running in the future is Sigil of Suffering, because it's a defense reaction that deals arcane damage to the attacking hero, so it deals damage on their turn, and if it does, it gets +1 block, so it's block 4, deal 1, so a total of 5 value, or forces your opponent to like pitch a card, which they might not want to do. It pairs really nicely with Channel Lightning Valley. It's one of the ways you can go over the top with Channeled Lightning Valley because it's the first time you deal damage to an opposing hero each turn. So it includes your opponent's turn as well. So the most busted turn cycle for Channel Lightning Valley is you draw a card the turn you play it, and then you sigil on their turn when they attack you. You draw a card there, replacing the sigil, and then you attack again. You get value from your turn again, you keep it around, and then you sigil again on their turn before Channel Lightning Valley eventually goes away because you can't pay for the channel cost. But if you're running like Blast to Oblivion, you can bounce it back to your hand, which is interesting. But yeah, Sigil just works really well with Channel Lightning Valley, and it's helpful for matchups that have attack reactions or very disruptive attacks. We want better blocking cards. Lastly, this is highly untested, copying off of Lupine Fiasco's list, but I've been a Wisp Huffer, Wisp believer since day one. I really want to be dealing tons of arcane damage instead of just mostly physical, and Flicker Wisp pairs really well with our specialization because every time we go again, we deal 1 arcane damage, and the Flicker Wisp will turn that 1 arcane damage into 2. So pinging for 2 arcane every time we get go again, which Flicker Wisp has naturally, and the Arc Lightning gives to another card, and when we pitch, our weapon has go again as well. Just dealing 2 arcane over and over might be the way you go over decks that block really, really well. For example, Guardians, they have tons of fridge, so dealing damage via arcane might be the way that you can squeeze out the win there. Finally, things to consider is weakest link and CNC. So basically disruptive 2 cost 6 power attacks because it fits really well into our cost curve. I'm currently not running it in the main board because I'm a consistency guy and I don't really like disrupting others because I don't like getting disrupted myself, but I will run a few in the sideboard for matchups that really, really need it. So the cost curve, when we usually go pitch a blue for weapon and embodiment, you can swap out the embodiment for a very disruptive 6 after a long chain link full of on hits that they might have blocked already. So yeah, that's the entirety of my Aurora deck. Hopefully my explanation is clear and not too rambly. I know I ramble and go on tangents a lot when talking about each individual card because I've play tested the deck quite a bit and I just really want you to know the power of each card and how I see them being played together and how I value them and how they've come up in my testing. that's it for my deck tech video. Do let me know if you have any questions about the deck or if you have any suggestions for cards for Aurora. Please do go ahead and put them down on the comment section. And if you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, because that is the best way that you can support me creating free Flesh and Blood content directly to your YouTube video feed. That's it for today, and I can't wait to playtest more Aurora on Talishar, because the team there is working their asses off to get all the cards coded there. So huge shout out to the Talishar team. And as always, sampai goodbye.